These are the frequently asked questions for Algebra 2 for section 4.4 day 1, starting with number 21. Number 21, what you need to remember, and I'm writing that down, banging that marker on the board, is that we need that first term to be positive. In order for that to happen in this case, we're going to have to go ahead and factor out that -1. So we'll just change all the signs because remember, pulling a negative out, that's exactly what it's doing. It's saying take the opposite of all of this. And then you just quick double check and make sure that you have actually changed all the signs of all the terms. Then I notice I have an x squared in front and I have a 12 in the back. So I start thinking, well, x times x pretty obviously will give me the x squared. I need two numbers that will multiply to positive 12 and add to negative 13. Well, that's going to be negative 12 and negative 1. Done. So, you go through that thinking process. Again, sometimes you'll need to sit there and write down some factors of 12 before you can see it. But in this case, the only way we're going to get that 13 is with a 12 and a 1. Then number 22, same type of problem. So we're going to factor that negative out from in front. And then 18 is not a perfect square. There's nothing fancy going on there. So I start thinking r times r is going to give me r squared. Two numbers that multiply to positive 18 and add to negative 11. So again, you kind of go through the list in your head. They would both have to be negative in order for this to work because they have to multiply to positive 18 and add to negative 11. So you can go through the list of 1 and 18, not going to work. 2 and 9, oh yeah, there it is. So they'd both be negative so that they will multiply to positive 18 and then add to that negative 11 in the middle. And then number 27, another one with a negative in front. So again, we're going to go ahead and take that negative away from that first term. And I'm writing it down thinking, all right, x squared is x and x. Negative 20, there's not a perfect square there or anything fancy that deals with that. So x times x will definitely give me x squared. And now I need two numbers that multiply to a negative 20 and add to a positive 1. So I go through the list and think, you know what, I've got to have a negative 20 if they multiply. So one is negative and one is positive. And you realize that it's going to be a positive 5 and a negative 4 that would add together to give you that positive 1 in the middle and multiply to a negative 20. Then, on the next page, number 32, I just want to remind you that really the first thing we always should check for is there a common factor to all of the terms, which in this case means two terms, and they both have a 3. So what I want to do is think of this as either dividing a 3 out of both terms or as multiplication backwards, which means I'm going to have to take 3 times something to get 3a squared, and that something is a. And then I'm going to have to take 3 times something to get plus 9, and that's plus 3. And then I take a look at that a squared plus 3, and I realize even though it has a squared term, there isn't any factoring that I can do with that. The 3 is not a perfect square, and the plus in the middle takes it away from being a difference of 2 square problems anyway. So number 33 is 25b squared minus 20b. And even as I'm writing it down and saying it, you notice, hey, there's a b in both of those, so we should take that out. And then 25 and 20, 5 is a factor of both of those. So again, you either think backwards or you divide, whatever works for you. So 5b times something gives me 25b squared. That something is 5b. And then 5b times something gives you a negative 20b, and that would be minus 4. Now again, I look at that and I realize, well, I don't have any more squareds in there, so there's nothing else I can do. That is my answer. So hopefully that was enough to get you going here over the weekend on section 4.4, day 1.